Sir,
Yeah, I'm starting. Yeah.
Yes, Santosh, tell me now.
I have I mean, the basic one, like instead of starting this session at 8 a.m., can we do it before 8? Because our offices and this thing starts at 9. So, I mean, it starts at 10. So we have to be out at 9. So Uh, is there any possibility to conduct this session at 7 or 6 early morning?
To also agree with the Santosh, actually, if I this is also conflicting me. I have to drop my kids to the school in this time. So,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
possible, we are requesting you if something like if it is change in some timing, it will great for us.
So we'll do one thing, Santosh, and we have to take the feedbacks from the other guys, and we'll come up with the one decision, and we'll intimate. Okay?
Yeah, that will be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Satya.
Yeah. Thank you. So just let me mute myself. Yeah. In in whole today's session, we are going to talk about what exactly we are going to follow in upcoming sessions for entire 2 months. That is what I wanted to convey in this session. Okay. Now, in Oracle Labs, there are so many modules. Okay, let me open the Excel sheet. Okay, so we are learning the Oracle applications. Particularly in the Oracle applications, there are many sub-modules are available, like the Oracle Financials and Oracle SCM and Oracle PPM. Okay, then it's something like a OTL or expense management or the HCM, human capital management. So out of these modules, and particularly, and we'll be able to focusing only on the project portfolio management. I'll tell you what is the importance of the other modules and how we are going to integrate with the PPM from the other subledgers. Here, each subledger is nothing but a one module in the Oracle applications. In depth, we are going to discuss about these things later. And here, I just wanted to convey what exactly we are going to focus on the 2 months. Okay, out of these two modules, we'll be focusing on the Oracle Cloud Fusion PPM, and this is the curriculum of the Oracle Cloud Fusion PPM. Initially, basically, if you go for the PPM, okay, it has got segregated into the two pieces. Okay, that is, one is the project financial management project financial management. The other one is the project execution management. Okay, these two are the pieces we are going to talk about. And the first one is particularly the project financial management, which deals with the financial stuff. I mean to say, if irrespective of the module, and we are going to enter the many transactions. Okay, so which will, sorry, which will impacting the company's financial information, like deriving the accounting part. Okay, so those things we are going to cover under the project financial management. So the project financial management is again segregated into the multiple pieces, like the project foundation, project costing, and project billing, and project control, and enterprise contracts. Okay, so these are the subset of modules which are comes under the project financial management. Only with the help of these modules, and we can able to enter the transactions, so particularly whenever we wanted to use the PPM. Okay, so there are certain things. It's like the company's non-financial information. It's like how, as a project manager, how I can able to track the deliverable of my project, and what are the scheduling, how many resources are I need to map my project, and what is the responsibility of the project manager, And if any resource is not capable in the project, as a project manager, whether I replace him with a new resource, or whether I need to provide any training for the existing employee to move forward. So this information, it doesn't have any financial impact. Okay, so this information we are going to track with the help of the project execution management. Again, this module is segregated into two more pieces, it's like the project management, and the project resource management. Okay, so these two modules are comes under the project execution management, and these modules are comes under the project financial management. So when it comes to the licensing, and you should go to the Oracle and take the license for the project financial management, and you can able to use these modules. And similarly, you can go to the Oracle and take the license of the execution management, and you can use these subset of modules. Okay, so entire 2 months, okay, we are going to talk about these modules. Okay, now let me jump into our curriculum, whatever we have seen now. So this part is talking about the same. Okay, maximum portion 90% we are going to discuss about this portion, and the 10% will be concentrating on the execution management. Okay, don't worry, I'll give you the best on this, the project execution management as well. Okay, now before I started the sessions to learn about the PPM, okay, particularly we are on the cloud applications. Okay, we need to have some basics of the cloud applications, and what exactly we are going to cover on the basics. Okay, then what is mean by a cloud, or what is mean by a fusion, and what is the difference between the fusion and the cloud, and what exactly is the advantage or the disadvantage of the cloud. We have the so many versions, right? Okay, we have the R12 and we have the 11i. And why do we go for the cloud applications? Is there any disadvantage in the R12? And what are the benefits of the cloud applications? Okay, so that is what we wanted to discuss. And what exactly is the difference between the cloud and on-premise? Whatever the lower versions we have, like R12 and 11i. Okay, those are comes under the on-premises. I'll tell you why we can call 11i and R12 as on-premise, and even in the cloud also we have the on-premise environment. That also we'll see in detail. Okay, basically at a very high level in the cloud applications, not only in Oracle applications. Okay, so if you go for the cloud applications, so basically at a very high level, we have three different types of models. What is a SaaS model, PaaS model, and AS model? Software as a service, and platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Okay, so these things we'll be focusing on. I hope everybody knows about these things. Even if you don't know, you don't bother about it, and we'll discuss more on this part. Okay, then what is meant by the user interface and how it is related with the cloud applications? What exactly is the interface? How do I interact with the system? Okay, that is what we are going to talk about, the user interfaces roles particularly. So the fusion applications is built based on the roles only. If you go for the lower versions like 11i and R12, then everything is based on the responsibility based. Okay, here the roles concept is a replacement of the responsibilities in the lower versions like 11i and R12. Okay, then how do we provide the data access? Like if we are operating our business in multiple countries, each country I'm going to consider as a one business unit. Then as a project manager, for how many business units I'm responsible for? As a project manager, how many entities I'm responsible for? So this is where we can provide the data access, and that also we'll discuss in detail. And sometimes what happens, everything we cannot do in the system on behalf of you, and the system will do something for you by running the programs. Okay, that also we'll discuss. Whenever we work on the PPM side, we have the many integrations with the financials modules and the SCM modules. Sometimes in the SEM module, something I have to do, I have to enter the transactions and I wanted to pull the transactions from SEM to the PPM. How can it possible? And we have to run one concurrent request. Okay, where we should go and run the concurrent request, and we can take the help of these scheduling processes. Whether you are going to schedule the concurrent request or you run the manually on the concurrent request, it's all our choice. Normally in the real-time scenarios, before the system went for the live, and they will do the scheduling of all the concurrent requests, and we'll be focusing much on this the schedule process as well. Okay, throughout 2 months of sessions. Okay, so every day we used to run the couple of programs through this schedule process. Okay, don't worry. And the reports and analytics, irrespective of the module, there is a centralized place. Even if you are a finance functional consultant or a PPM functional consultant or SEM functional consultant, and you should come for the same place and for developing the reports in their area. Okay, and we'll discuss. I'll show you what is the navigation and where exactly we should go, and we should focus on the reporting for every module, and I'll show you how to build a report from the PPM side. Okay, don't worry about it. And the navigators. Okay, particularly whenever we log in with the cloud applications, I can see a home page. Whatever the options I'm going to use at the home page. The same options are available in the different place, which I can call as a navigator, and I'll show you the navigator, how I'm going to use the navigator options, and I'll show you how I'm going to use the options at the home page. Nothing is the difference. Nothing is a major difference. The options which I can see at the home page and which I can see at the navigator. Okay, now the functional setup manager. Okay, basically, if we go for any model in the Oracle applications, okay, in majority of the cases, we'll be focusing on two things. One is the setup. Sometimes we used to call as a configuration. Okay, and the second one is the processes. Okay, second one is the process. Okay, if you go for the financials module, and as a financial functional consultant, I have to do my own setups, and then I'll jump into the process, and whatever the setups you did in the system, and based on those setups, then you should be focusing on the process. I mean to say, it's like the process is always depending on the setups. The process is always depending on the setups or configuration. What setup or configuration you did in the system, based on that you are going to do the processing. Okay, what is meant by the process? Normally, if I go to the financials module, I wanted to create a journal in the general ledger module. I wanted to create a supplier invoice. I wanted to do the payment. I wanted to create a transactions, and I wanted to create the transaction specific receipts. So these are all comes under the processes of the Oracle financials. Okay, if you come for the projects, particularly on the PPM, okay, I wanted to create a project and task. I wanted to enter the different types of the transactions, like miscellaneous transaction, usage specific transaction, and supplier invoices specific to the projects, and some employee specific time sheets, some employee specific expenses. These are all the transactions which we are going to enter as part of the PPM applications. Okay, this comes under the process. Okay, sometimes even after entering the transactions, and you wanted to convert those project expenses into an asset, this is also comes under the process. That means converting project expenses into an asset. Okay, now sometimes from the projects model, and we should be able to do the customer billing. Okay, customer billing, I mean to say the customer invoicing. This is also comes under the process. And sometimes we used to generate the company specific revenue and do the accounting part. Okay, this is all comes under the process, particularly when you go for the PPM. Similarly, if you go for the any model, we have the setups or configurations, and the second one is the process. How we are able to do these setups and configuration, and with the help of a functionality which is given by the Oracle, which is FSEM, nothing but a functional setup manager. Okay, that is where we should be in a position to know the functional setup manager, how we are going to do the setups of your respective module. Okay, which is also the common place where exactly I go and do the setups. If you are a finance or a PPM or a CM or a HCM, okay, respective of the module, there is a centralized place where we have to go and do your setups. That is what the importance of this functional setup manager. And the last one is the integrations particularly. Okay, so integrations is nothing but whenever we work on the cloud PPM module, and we do have various integrations with other modules. What exactly is the integration? What exactly is the meaning of the integration? Integration is nothing but let me give an example here. So we have the financials module, right? In the financials, I'll discuss more on the subset of modules on the other modules as well. Okay, there is a one module which is the accounts payable. Accounts payable is a module. Here I can enter the supplier invoices. Okay, supplier invoices is the one of the process which I wanted to do it in the account payables. From there, I wanted to import this supplier invoice from the account payables into the PPM. Okay, so this is where the bridge is established between the two modules. One is account payables and other one is the PPM. This bridge is already given by the Oracle. Okay, this bridge is nothing but an integration. Whenever we work on the PPM, and the PPM is going to integrate with the various other modules like the financials or SCM or OTL or expense management. Okay, that I'll discuss in detail. Here you should know like the integration is nothing but a one bridge between the two modules. Okay, if Oracle is provided the bridge here in between the two modules, which I can call as a seeded, which I can call as a built-in built-in integration. Okay, otherwise if there is any third-party system, and as per the standard functionality we don't have any integration, and we should be in a position if it's purely based on the customer requirement, and we should be in a position to build the integration between the two modules. If there is a seeded integration, it's well and good, and we can able to use it to pull the data from the third party system. If there is no integration based on the client requirement, and we have to establish the bridge, we have to establish the integration between the two modules, and that's how we can pull the information between the two modules. That is what the meaning of the integration. Okay, now coming to the project foundation. So here we could see like these are the subset of modules of the project financial management. So we should be able to do the setups of all these modules, and then we'll jump into the process. When coming to this project foundation, what exactly we are going to do? What exactly we are going to do in terms of the setups, not on the process. Okay, that is what we'll be able to see here. What are the list of setups are available as part of the project foundation? So if you learn about the Oracle financials, and you can able to do the setups only for the financials. Okay, if you are able to do some if you are learning about the PPM, and will be able to focusing on the PPM specific setups. Okay, there are some common setups which are available across the instance. Let me take the example of this. Okay, manage expenditure types. If you do this setup, whatever the expenditure types we have defined, and these expenditure types will get reflected in the other modules as well. It is not specifically to utilize it for the PPM module. Okay, so like this, there are certain setups are available which we use across the instance, across the irrespective of the module. I can use the other modules as well. Those common setups the Oracle has given as part of the project foundation. Okay, let's see. We have the calendars. Normally, the finance guy will have to define the calendars, and the same calendar I can use it for entering the transactions within the PPM. Okay, this is also something which can be accessible at the financials and also can be accessible at the foundation. The foundation is comes under the project financial management. The project financial management is comes under the PPM. Okay. So these are all the setups and what are the organizations or categories and the expenditure types and what are the project statuses, roles. Even at this stage, even I started giving some lecture on these setups and you cannot able to understand. Okay. For now, you can remember these are the setups. Going forward, we should be focusing as part of the configuring the PPM module. Okay. Now the project control. Okay, this is also one of the subset module, project control. What exactly will be doing it? Okay, initially, let me give an example. You decided to start one construction of one apartment or one building for you only. Initially, you thought of, I have a 10 lakhs of budget and I wanted to finish my construction within 10 lakhs only. That means 10 lakhs will be a budget for your construction. Okay, how we are going to define the budgeting and the forecasting within the PPM module? What is the prerequisite is required? Okay, the prerequisite is the manager financial plan type is a prerequisite whenever you wanted to define the budgeting and the forecasting. This financial plan type is one of the setup as part of the PPM applications. Before I wanted to go ahead and do the budgeting and the forecasting, and we should be in a position to complete this financial plan type. That's where then the system will allow you to do the budgeting. Okay, that is what the importance of this. And the next thing is the project plan type. Okay, which is also comes under the project control only. And these two are the setups. As a project manager, I wanted to execute my project. The top management assigned one project for me. I wanted to execute the project and the project is not started yet. Before the project is started, as a project manager, I wanted to know how many resources are required for my project and what is the skill set of each resource and how many years of experience of each resource I need. Okay, so this kind of a planning you have to do. Okay, so how come it's possible and what is the prerequisite to do this type of a project planning? And with the help of this manage project plan type. Okay, so this is a financial plan type which will help us to do the budgeting and forecasting, and the project plan type which will help us to do the project planning. Okay, so these two setups are comes under the project control setups. Okay, now the project costing setups. Okay, now the project foundation, project control, and now this time the project costing. Okay, the few setups are available as part of the project costing, especially the transaction sources, which will help us to enter any transaction within the PPM. Without a transaction sources, and we cannot able to enter any type of transactions. We have a multiple transaction types like miscellaneous transactions, burden transactions, supplier invoices, and time sheets, and expenses, etc. So these different types of the project specific cost we can enter through the transaction source only. The Oracle has given some seeded transaction sources, And if you don't want to, if you don't satisfy with those seeded transactions, and based on your customer requirement, and you should be in a position to build one customized transaction source accordingly, you can use the same customized transaction source to enter the transactions and do the accounting. That is what the purpose of it. Okay. And next is we'll talk about this descriptive flex fields across the instance, across the Oracle applications, irrespective of the module. In each and every screen, the Oracle has provided certain fields where we should go and enter some data. Okay, so when you are in a position to give a demo for your customer, and if your customer is not satisfied with the existing fields in the current screen, and if based on your customer requirement, we have to provide certain additional data, certain additional we have to place a certain additional fields where we have to enter the data in the screen. Okay, how come it's possible? Okay, we should be in a position to create our own fields in the screen by using the DFFs, descriptive flex fields. Descriptive flex fields. How come it's possible? By using this option. Okay, particularly if you go this option, and we can able to create the descriptive flexi fields only at the project costing level. The same descriptive flexi fields we can able to do at the project foundation, we can able to do at the project billing, and we can able to do at the enterprise contracts, and we can able to do at the budgeting, etc., etc. Okay, and coming down here, the enterprise contracts setup, enterprise contract setups. Here,
Sorry to interrupt. I have one
yes,
doubt.
yes.
Regarding the descriptive flex fields, if we create the descriptive flex fields, as you said in the PPM, so those flex fields can be able to use in other module also, like it will be reflect.
No. It doesn't reflect. It doesn't reflect on other models. If we create it in the PPM, those fields we can able to utilize only specific to PPM only. So if you go for the financial module, there also we have certain areas where we can keep the descriptive flexi fields. So we have the Oracle has given the provision for the each module. Okay, there is no correlation between the two modules.
Okay, that is within the module only.
Yeah, within the module only. Sometimes I wanted to create a supplier invoice based on the customer requirement. I have enabled a few descriptive flexi fields at the supplier invoice, but which will not the useful for the PPM. Even I cannot create a supplier invoice within the PPM to see those the descriptive flexi field, right? Even here, I wanted to enter the transaction within the PPM. I enabled a few descriptive flex fields, and which cannot be, and we cannot enter any the project specific transactions in other miscellaneous transactions in other modules to see those descriptive flex fields, right? So it is up to within the module only.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now we are going to talk about the enterprise contracts and the billing. In the lower version, so somewhat there was a different thing in the R12 and the 11i. In the cloud applications, there are a few changes, okay, in terms of the customer billing. Enterprise contracts is a different module, and which is having some financial impact. That's why they kept under the project financial management. And also here we have the project billing. If you go for the project billing, we can deal only two things. One is customer invoicing, and other one is the company specific revenue. Okay, when you go for the enterprise contracts, okay, here we can deal as a owner of my company. I agreed with one of the customer, and whatever the agreement established between the company and the customer, that I can call as a contract. And that contract, where should I go and enter in the system? That's where this enterprise contracts model will be in a picture. Once a contract is established in a enterprise contracts module, the contract specific revenues and the billing, it can it can be possible with the project billing module. So finally, what I wanted to say here is the enterprise contracts and also the project billing. These two modules will work together. These two these two modules will work together. If there is no contract, there is no question of the customer billing, and there is no question of the company specific revenue. That's how these two modules will work together. Okay, then we'll see what type of setups we can cover under the enterprise contracts and what type of setups we can cover under the project billing. Let's see here. Yeah, enterprise contracts. Okay, so these are the setups. These are the setups we are going to cover. Even if you see here, and I'm going to cover the descriptive flexi fields at the contract level or contract line level. Okay, these are the setups. And when it comes to the project billing and how we are going to do the billing, there are what are the methods, in how many ways you can do the customer billing, and how frequently you are going to bill your customer, and once you generate the invoice, and what will be the format of your invoice, and how you are going to recognize the revenue, in how many ways we are going to recognize the revenue, and what options we are going to give before we started and generating the invoices and the revenues, and what options we are going to give. And so that is where we can talk about all the options, so specifically for the project billing, billing. Okay, now when coming to the subledger accounting, see, it's like the heart of the module, not only for the PPM. Okay, irrespective of the module, whether it is a financials or SCM or a PPM, or irrespective of the module, and SLA is the heart of the module, because so whenever you do any transaction, okay, in a PPM, I can enter some miscellaneous transaction. Okay, so if you enter the miscellaneous transaction, so after completed entering the transaction, immediately you have to do certain process like create accounting. Okay, if you do the create accounting process, generally what will happen? So for that miscellaneous transaction, one debit accounting entry will get derived, and one credit accounting entry will get derived. My question is how the system will derive the debit and the credit for this miscellaneous transaction. Otherwise, in accounts payable, I wanted to create one supplier invoice. So after I finished creating the supplier invoice, if I do the create accounting process here, what will happen? The system will derive the debit account and the credit account. Here also my question is how the system will derive this debit account and the credit account. So it's all depends on your configuration in the system, that is SLA, subledger accounting. SLA, which stands for subledger accounting. These are all the setups which we are going to configure as part of the SLA to derive the debits and the credits. The accounting part will work at the ledger level. Okay, for how many business units you have configured the module wise setups, and this SLA part will work at the ledger level. Okay, so for one ledger is for under one ledger, if we have the 10 business units and the 12 business units, for all the business units the accounting will be common, because it will work at the ledger level. Okay, so that is what we wanted to talk about going forward. Burdening. So burdening, it's like a different functionality within the PPM. Whenever we wanted to do the burdening, and the burdening specific separate setups are available, like burden cost basis, cost codes, burden structure, and burden schedules. And these are all the setups specifically we wanted to do as part of the burdening process, and then we'll jump into the process and we'll see. what exactly is the definition of the burdening, and what type of setups we will do, and what exactly we'll be doing under the process of burdening. Okay, that we are going to cover in the upcoming sessions. Okay, now the approvals, which is one of the important thing in the PPM, not only in the PPM, and this is also a centralized place. In the Oracle applications, we have a centralized place where we have to go and configure the approvals. Okay, now consider the account payables module, and I wanted to create a supplier invoice. First, whenever I validate it, and whenever I submit a supplier invoice, and I wanted to route the notification into the different person to get the approval. Okay, where exactly we should go and configure the approvals, and how to do the approvals, and what different types of the approvals. When it comes to the PPM, we have the approvals like project approvals, budget approvals, customer invoice approvals, and the contract approvals, and expenditure approvals, etc., etc. Okay, let's say I have a project. And whenever I submit this project, whenever I submit this project, the notification will go to the respective project manager. For every project, there should be a project manager, right? Okay, so initially the project is in the draft status. Now I wanted to submit this project. When I submitted this project, the notification will go to the project manager, and the project manager will check whether you have created a project properly or not. If everything is in proper, the project manager will approve the project. Now the project will get changed to the approved, so that the system will give us a chance to enter the transactions if it is approved status only. Okay, here if you build approvals, then only when you submit a project, and the notification will go to the project manager, and the project manager will have to approve that project. Otherwise, sometimes I wanted to define the budget. Okay, so I have a budget of 10 lakhs rupees of my project, but my project manager wants to approve that budget. Then again, the notification will go when I submit a budget, and the project manager will have to approve it. Sometimes, let's see, I have agreed with one customer to finish my project within 1 year or 6 months, and based on the terms and conditions, every 2 months I'm going to bill my customer. Okay, now if my customer invoice amount, okay, is in between, if customer invoice amount is less than $1,000, okay, so it is self-approved, no one should approve. Otherwise, if the customer amount is in between 1,000 and $10,000, okay, then Satya has to approve the invoice. Then only it can deliver it to the customer. Okay. Otherwise, if it is greater than 10,000, okay. If it is greater than 10,000, okay, then the notification, it has to route for the other people, the Satish. Okay, this is what the requirement is, and how we are going to keep this requirement in the system. Okay, the customer says like my invoice amount is less than, no one should approve. If my invoice amount is in between the 1,000 and 10,000, and the Satya has to approve. And if it is a greater than 10,000, and the final approver will be a Satish. Okay, how we wanted to achieve these type of requirements. Okay, if we go for the approvals concept, what are the different types of the approvals we have? The serial approvals or the parallel approvals, and what task configuration we have, and what are the approvals will be applicable for the projects, budgets, contracts, invoices, etc. Okay, that is where we wanted to focus when it comes to the approvals. Okay, Now, the project foundation, right? Okay. It's something like the prerequisites. Prerequisites. Okay. So this is also something like it's a very important. Before I wanted to, yes. Wait. Sorry. So far, we have seen module-wise the setups. Okay, now we can see the module-wise processes. As I told you earlier, and the process is always depending on the setups or configurations. Setups or configurations. Now the setups part curriculum we have seen so far. Now we'll jump into the process specific. The process specific curriculum. Okay. Now, if we go here under the foundation, and we are going to see what different types of the projects we are dealing in the PPM, capital, billable or indirect. Then how to assign the resources and how to open the periods and whether I'm going to use the PPM periods or the general ledger periods. Okay, so these things we are going to cover under the project foundation. And coming to the project costing, and this is a majority of the portion we should be focusing on the project costing processes and the project billing processes. Okay, it's like how we are going to create a project and how we are going to do the cost collections for your capital project or capital project, and how we are going to convert the project expenses into an asset. I mean to say the end-to-end the cycle for the capital project, which we wanted to focus on the project costing. And we have the different types of the cost which we are going to enter for your project, and the different types of the cost also we can able to see under the project costing process only. It's like the miscellaneous expenses, miscellaneous transaction entry, usage transaction entry, the time cards or time systems, how to enter sorry, how to enter the transactions within the PPM. Okay, so there are multiple ways. One is through the user interface, another one is through the Excel upload, the other one is through the other modules. And these things we are going to convert under the project costing. And sometimes if there is a project and the transactions which is already entered, okay, let us say we have two projects. Let us assume we have two projects, project A and project B. Okay, now the expense is the 1,000. Okay, this is what the expense. Now I wanted to enter a transaction for $1,000. Okay, this $1,000 I wanted to enter for the project B, but by mistake I have entered the transaction for $1,000 for project A. Actually, this has to be entered for project B, but by mistake I have entered the transaction for project A. Now, in this situation, I have to perform a transferring the cost from project A to project B. This transferring the cost, which is comes under one adjustment. You are adjusting the $1,000 from project A to project B. After you enter the transactions and how we can able to perform the adjustments. There are different types of the adjustments. So we have like transfer, split, and a split and a transfer, recalculate raw cost, reverse. Okay, these type of adjustments we are going to perform, and these things will be focusing on the project costing. Project costing. At the end,
this is Abhishek here. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Do we have the option for transferring budget as well? For example, I have defined a budget for project A. Okay, and the project is completed. There is leftover budget in that specific project. Now I wanted to utilize the same budget to the another project, and now I wanted to transfer it. Can I do that?
We don't have any option to transfer the budget from one project to another project. Only the the cost wise, the Oracle has provided the feasibilities to transfer the to transfer for the other projects.
Okay, so if I wanted to do that, I mean, is there any specific approach that we can do? Transferring of budget from one project to another, or utilization of budget from one project to another?
Currently, we don't have any standard approach for moving the budgets from one project to another project. It's all depends on. So what you said is it's a kind of a requirement which we used to take from the customer, and we should be in a position to achieve this requirement. So by doing something other than the standard functionality.
Okay.
Okay, it's part of the requirement, the phase, etc.
Mhm.
As per the standard functionalities, the adjustments which we can do, for the project cost, it's like the miscellaneous transactions or miscellaneous transactions are time sheets or usage specific or employee expenses, etc. Only this portion will be doing the adjustments. Other than this, and we have a certain the adjustments for the customer invoices, customer invoicing. Here also we'll do the adjustments. Other than this, and we have the company specific revenues, and here also we'll do some adjustments. Okay, so for example, when it comes to the customer invoicing, for example, based on the terms and conditions which the company has agreed with the customer, the company is generating the customer invoice for the every 2 months, but suddenly you have generated a customer invoice, but unfortunately, after generated the invoice, the customer has directly call you and asking about just give me 1 more month to send the invoice. You don't send the invoice at present, and you can send the invoice after 1 month. But here we have already generated the invoice. Then how can I keep the generated invoice on the hold? Otherwise, how can I delete the invoice? Otherwise, how can I remove the invoice? So these types of adjustments we can able to perform specific to the customer invoicing. So to answer your question, the adjustments the Oracle has provided only these areas in a PPM.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
In a standard processor.
Yeah. So coming to the project billing process. So in the name itself, there is a meaning. If there is a project, and how we are going to bill the customer specific to this project. Okay, then here we should be able to learn about how to create a contract project, how to assign the customer with a contract project, how we are going to generate the customer invoicing, how we are able to do the customer invoicing adjustments, and how we are able to do the company specific revenues and their adjustments. Okay, so once the contract is created, how we are going to do the amendments for your contract. Okay, so what will be the process of invoicing and the revenue? So this is how we'll be focusing on this the project billing process. Okay, now when it comes to the conversions, it's nothing but we are implementing the project on the cloud applications, but till yesterday or in the next 1 year, the customer is already using the different application for their business. The customer is decided to go with the cloud application, so that too it is on the PPM, and whatever the business they have ran through the existing software, and whatever the transactions they had so far, those transactions we wanted to keep it in the Oracle applications after I implemented the PPM for their business. How we wanted to load the historical data into the cloud applications, okay, with the help of these two. File-based data import, FBDI, and other one is a ADFDI, which stands for the Application Desktop Framework Data Integrator, and these two are Excel based only. We have to download the template, and only the difference between these two is the EBDA templates which are already available in the Oracle website. Okay, somewhere I have to go and I have to define the templates, and we have to populate the data, and we can start uploading the data into the system. Okay, and the ADABA page, particularly this ADABA template, which we have to download from the system, not on the Oracle portal. Okay, so when you go and take a license from the Oracle, then Oracle will give us a URL and username and password. Okay, so if you log in with the, okay, there is a provision to download the ADFDA page. That means finally what I wanted to say is we have to download the data, we have to download the ADFDI pages from the system. Whereas if it is if it's go to the ABDA templates, the Oracle portal itself, we have to go and we have to download it. That is where the difference between these two. Okay, coming to the reporting.
Sorry to interrupt, Abhishek
Yes.
here again.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to DFD and FBDA templates, is there any specific configuration that we need to, apart from downloading the templates, is there any specific configuration that we do in order to define those
Exactly.
or else to utilize that?
Yeah, very good question. So, for example, let me give you one example here. And I wanted to load some miscellaneous transactions to the cloud applications, particularly on the PPM. So far, these miscellaneous transactions which are in the SAP module now. Okay, I wanted to load these miscellaneous transactions which are already entered, which are already available in SAP. I wanted to load this data into the cloud. I wanted to load this data into the cloud PPM. Okay, you have to go and you have to download the FBDA template, and you can populate the miscellaneous transaction information in the FBDA template, and you can start uploading the data into the PPM. Here my question is, whenever you populate the data, okay, if it is a project specific transaction and there are certain fields are required, what is the project, what is the task, and what is the expenditure type, and what is the expenditure item date, and what is the expenditure organization. If any transaction which is specific to a project's model, any transaction which is specific to a PPM model, okay, the transaction should have these fields. If I wanted to enter these fields, the PPM setups should be in place. If no PPM setups should be in place, and we cannot enter these information in the EBDA template. If no question of these information in the EBDA template, there is no question of uploading the SAP data in the PPM. That's how the importance of it is. So to answer your question, the PPM setups are required. The PPM setups are prerequisites.
Yeah, this is at inside the template, okay, where we use that header level in order to capture the data. But my
Yes.
question is like, okay, in order to download the template, or else in order to utilize the template functionality, okay, is for example, let's take an example of data loader. If we wanted to use data loader, we'll be downloading the data loader and we'll just define templates. That's all we do. We'll just load the data and we'll load it, right? So
Yes.
in the same way, we will be downloading the template from Oracle, and or else to utilize that functionality, is there any specific configuration that to be done for FBDA or ADFDA? For
Yeah.
example, internet options setting changes, something like that, or macro enable settings like that.
Yes. Yeah, to answer your question, if you wanted to go ahead with this option, the ADFDA page, okay. So for ADFDA page particularly, so there is a software, ADFDI software, which we have to download from the system. Okay, and it has to be installed in our local machine. Okay, this will be applicable only for the ADFDI page. And the second prerequisite, whenever you wanted to focus on the ADFDI page, is you have to do certain Excel settings. And even if you enter ADFDA Excel settings in the Google, and we'll get the couple of links, and we have to follow any one link, and we have to do the Excel settings. That's where we can start using the ADFDA pages. When it comes to the file-based data import, okay, so no specific softwares are to be installed in the machine. No specific softwares are to be installed in the machine, and no specific so maybe whatever the Excel settings we did for the ADFDA page, the same Excel settings will be applicable for the ABDA templates as well. So to answer your question, the Excel settings are required, Abhi.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
that
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
show you in detail. Don't worry. This is at a very high level only. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So the reporting. So when it comes to the reporting, if someone asks you, why did you go for the cloud applications if already the lower versions like R12 and 11 is available, and one of the major change in the cloud applications is the reporting. We have the very beautiful reporting features are available in the cloud. Okay, these reporting features are applicable for all the modules in the cloud applications. It is not specific to uh, any one module. Okay, if you go for the PPM, or if you go for the financials or SCM, or any other modules, okay, it will be like the centralized place where every module specific owner will come and develop the reporting. Okay, we have the reporting like the OTBA reporting, and dashboards and KPIs, and smart view reports, and BI reports, and we have different types of the reports. And then we'll be discussing about the OTBA reporting, and I'll show you the dashboards. The dashboards are already given by the Oracle. The beautiful dashboards are available in each and every module. Okay, when it comes to the PPM, we have the dashboards, and that I wanted to show you. The team member dashboard is there, and the project manager dashboard is there. So there are some the dashboards are available, and I'll show you the dashboards. Okay. Then the OTBA report, Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence report. So normally, if you go with the lower versions like the R12 and 11i, okay, so we need to take the help of the technical guys to build the report. Okay, as a functional consultant, you should be in a position to take the requirement from the customer. And the same thing you should convey with the technical consultant, and the technical consultant will start developing the report, and finally will be in a position to do the testing. And once the testing is done, if everything is if everything goes proper, then we'll hand over the system, we'll hand over the report into the customer for their testing. That is how the process is. Here, if you go with the cloud applications, the process is the same, but without any technical involvement, as a functional consultant, and you can able to develop the report using this ABDA template. No need of any technical knowledge or any technical person required to develop the report on the OTBI. That's where it is about the OTBI. So that means it reduces the technical environment, the technical people efforts. As a functional, you should be in a position to develop these OTBA reports. The technical involvement will be required for a different kind of reporting, which is BI reporting. BI reporting. Okay. There are other the features are also available. Smart view reports. Smart view reports. Okay, and KPIs, key performance indicators, key performance indicators, key performance indicators. Okay, these are the different types of the reporting. Okay, it's all customer decision which reporting they wanted to go. Based on that, we should be in a position to build. That means if customer says, I wanted to go with the BI reporting, obviously the company has to allocate the technical resource, because the technical involvement is required in order to develop the BA reporting. If customer says the OTBA reporting is very easy and which is comfortable for me, so obviously, so the company will allocate only the functional resources. Anyhow, the functional resources are available as part of the projects. No need of recruiting the technical guys to be involved in the project. Okay, Smart TV reports, it's all, there is a different module. So there are some EPM modules are available. And here we can develop the report in the form of the cubes, the dimensions, particularly row dimensions and the column dimensions. Okay, so very rare cases the customer will prefer this. If EPM modules are not used, there is no question of this reporting. And the key performance indicators, and it is also sometimes very rare. Okay, in majority of the cases, the customers may go for either OTBA reporting or BA reporting. Okay, if dashboards are suitable for their requirement and no need of building any reports, the dashboards are already given by the Oracle. Seeded dashboards are available. The customer will go and will verify it. And we should be in a position to explain the dashboard with the customer. If customer satisfies, and obviously, and they can able to follow the dashboards only. Dashboards is also one of the reporting feature. Got it. So any questions from anybody? So
Yeah, I have a question. So the infolets will come under the KPIs. Infolets in the Fusion that from the home screen that they see.
Yes.
Those things. Okay.
There are
and also
yes.
And also there is another question, not specifically with regard to reporting. So the sandboxes also use touch base.
The sandbox, which is one of the additional feature. So in the lower versions, like the personalizations, already you heard about that in the lower versions 11i or R12. Okay.
Yeah.
Personalizations. Okay. The same concept is replacing in the cloud as the sandbox functionality. Okay. So in one particular screen, one option is optional, and based on the customer requirement, I wanted to make this option as a mandatory option. And how can it be possible? Because of we do the sandbox functionality. Sometimes whenever we go and assign the roles and provided the data access, still and we cannot able to see few icons at the home page. Okay, then the behind the screen, if you check it, and there was some problem on the sandbox, and which we have to create and execute it, and obviously we can see. Okay, we'll tell you the high level. Okay, don't worry.
Okay. So this sandboxes are done at role level, or it will be done at the page level? Like, I'm not sure.
The sandbox functionality, which will work at the instance level only.
Okay.
It means can't we restrict to each BU wise or LE wise? It's a total.
Based on my experience, we did not restrict.
Okay.
We won't restrict.
Total instance level only.
Yeah, instance level only, particularly if you go for one particular screen. Okay, if you go for one particular screen, let's say there is a screen like a project screen within the PPM. Okay, there was an option called, there is a one option which by default it is optional, and we made it as the mandatory by applying the sandbox. Okay, the project screen which will be applicable for all the business units, not only for the specific business unit. Okay, based on the roles which you have assigned with a user, and then user can access the project screen only for the few business units. But the restricting one field by applying the sandbox, it cannot be possible for the business unit specifically for the few business units. It's across the instance.
Okay.
Also, one more thing, just to clarify. So, in the curriculum, I didn't notice grants management. So, is it not part?
No, it's not part of this curriculum. Grants management it's altogether a different module. It is
Okay.
an extension of the PPM module, to answer your question.
Okay. So, it doesn't come under PPM suite.
No, it's not. It's a different module. That means I said it's like an extension of the PPM. Which
Okay.
will be used only for the government sector related, for creation of sponsored projects or etc.
Okay.
Hi, this is Nagraj. We have a project, upcoming project from EBS to Cloud. In EBS, they are not using projects model. So in Fusion, they want to use projects model. So your finance consultants is asking what are the proactive measures to be taken care to implement project. I mean PPM.
It's all Nagaraj. It's all comes under basically it comes under the requirement. Okay, so we should be in a position to learn about the whole curriculum what I have displayed here. Okay, we are not at all discussing any of the requirements and the solutioning part.
I mean, what they need to be taken care of if projects is implementing as a finance consultant, what they need to be taking care of as a proactive measure. Finance team, when project is in taking place.
Yeah, the projects module is not implemented in the lower versions, and now you are going to implement the projects module now, and already we have used the different software previously, and freshly you wanted to implement the projects module now, and what are the measures we wanted to consider to upload the data, correct?
Yes, yes. I meant to say they are coming from ABS to Fusion. So finance models are there, but projects module is the new model to be implemented. So finance consultants are asking what are the proactive measures to be taken to be considered to implement projects, because that their setups will be happening after in next phase once this finance is completed. So if there is something.
Basically, I got your question. Basically, whenever you wanted to upload the data from legacy system into the PPM module, okay. So if you have not implemented the projects module previously, freshly you are implementing the projects module here. That means we don't have any master data like the projects, task, and the transaction controls and the employee specific rate schedules, and this type of the master data is not applicable in the existing system. I mean to say the R12. Okay. Now, as a PPM functional consultant, you should be in a position to ask, so what type of transactions you have, and for each type of transactions, whether you are going to upload for which project and which task, and whether you are going to upload the labor cost or miscellaneous cost, or we have a different types of the cost and we are not sure what type of cost they are going to upload. The prerequisite thing is the project is required, task is required, and the dates are required, whether they are going to pull all the historical data into one date, or based on the previous transactions which has happened in the existing system. Every transaction is wants to follow with the same dates. Okay, it's all comes under the requirement only. Okay, if I started the discussion, it will take 1 hour or 2 hours on this.
No, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I guess the point is, will there be any dependency for financial configuration to configure PPM?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So because whenever we work on the PPM, okay, the prerequisite thing is the financial GL configuration should be in place. So without the GL configuration, there is no question of the PPM configuration, because there was an enterprise structure which the finance guy has to create, like the enterprise legal entities and the ledgers, the business units, and everything is done by the finance team.
Satya, let me answer to Nagaraj's question.
Yeah.
So I'm finance and PPM consultant. See, Nagaraj, your question is, if you are going to implement PPM, what else need to be done from finance side?
Yes.
So you no need to worry about anything about PPM implementation. Being a finance consultant, you have to ensure that whatever the new accounts they are going to use for accounting purpose within the project costing or billing, you have to ensure those GL accounts are in place as a part of your chart of account. Rest, everything flow automatically. Reason there is inbuilt integration across all these applications. No additional setup need to be done for in the finance in any application. Cost, payables, receivables, fixed assets, no additional setups. If you talk about capital project, data will flow from the costing to your FA application. No additional setup is required, only GL accounts. There is inbuilt integration. If you have a project transactions, it will flow wherever it has integration. No additional setups are required.
Okay. Yeah. It's look like the correct.
Yeah, done. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Yes. Any other questions? So if you don't have any other questions, then we'll wind up the session today and we'll continue tomorrow on the same time. Okay. The timing part, anyhow, will intimate through WhatsApp or something. There's a communication, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's a
current
serious concern.
times may not
Like
work for some.
the kids
I
has to
think
be
that.
dropped, and we have other issues with
No.
this.
Seriously, we'll make a note of this point. What we'll do is internally we'll discuss and we'll come back to you by tomorrow session. Okay, no need to worry about timings. Satya is very flexible. We talked to Satya, and
Okay.
just it should work for everyone, right? So we'll make a note of that point, and we'll come back to you on this tomorrow. Let's hope it would be very positive for everyone.
Yeah, that same thing I wanted to add a note. If you
Yeah,
prepone, it may not work for me. So,
yeah,
I think you need to accommodate everybody.
yeah. Yes. Anyway, we'll come back to you on this tomorrow.
The current timeline is if you can make it work for at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then
We will.
prepone
Yeah,
could
that's what.
be fine
Just
for me.
tomorrow we'll confirm on that. Okay, we'll talk to others
Okay.
also because it has to be aligned with everyone, right? It's, so
Correct. To take an
we'll,
informed call, so not go by 1% or 2%. So
exactly. We will have a very fruitful call on this tomorrow. So we
yeah,
will finalize accordingly and we'll proceed. We'll streamline the same.
I'm okay preponing. But if you can give like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then preponing it's definitely a working solution for me.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. We'll come back to you on this tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Satya, one question from my side. Any BPM workflows also are you covering in these projects?
The workflows, yes. To answer your question, yes. The approvals part already we have. I have shown you somewhere the approvals I have shown you.
Yeah, we discussed that. That's the reason I
Yes. We are going to cover the project status approvals or budget approvals or contract approvals. How we are going to create the approval groups or task configurations, the high level information at what is a serial approval or panel approval. So that's where we'll discuss.
Okay, here accounting will be there.
Yes, SLA.
Yeah. SLA. If we are creating any accountings here, suppose like payable in invoices, we have accounting in GLFA receivables like that. These accounting will affect to P&L and balance sheet. Is it tracking there, or it's a accrual only?
Approval, you mean whether you are talking about the SLA part or approvals part?
No. In case if liability, this type of accounting it is there, these accounts will affect to P&L and balance sheets, right? Like these accounts which is come under the projects, these accounts will come to balance sheet and trial balance, profit and loss accounts.
No, actually that is it's not part of the curriculum. As part of the curriculum, we have the different types of the cost. Wherever the accounting impact is there, then we'll be discussing about the accounting impact for all the project specific cost, invoicing, and the revenue. If you are doing any adjustments, how the accounting will get impacted for the adjustments, and this is how we can discuss.
Okay.
Yeah. Shall I wind up the session today?
Yeah, Satya, one question.
Yeah.
So I'm completely new to Oracle. So can I directly learn this PPM, or do I need to have financial knowledge? Fusion Finance.
Actually, to be honest, to answer your question, at least.
Let me answer this.
Yes.
So, I mean, who, Kishore or Abhishek? I didn't catch it. Yeah, whoever it may be. So what we'll do is, if we are directly jumping into PPM without any prior knowledge or experience on Oracle applications, it could be EBS or Fusion, what we can do is we will share few videos. We request you to please the ground. Then the game will become very easy for you to understand the rest. If you are from EBS or Fusion background, yes, you can learn this. There is no challenge. If you are just starting from the scratch, you please keep in touch with our team. Our team will help you by providing few videos, which will help you to understand everything from the scratch.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Still any questions from anybody?
Will you be also covering the transactions coming from other subledgers like P2P
Yes,
flow?
yes. We do cover the transactions from the other subledgers, like the supply chain, financials, OTL.
Okay.
Normally, the moment I started the discussing about the transactions particularly, so even though you don't have the knowledge on how to create a supplier invoice, then I'll tell you how to go to the financials module and how to create the invoice, because I wanted to create an invoice. From there I wanted to pull the invoice information into the PPM. Obviously, if I don't show how to create an invoice, then how can I import the data from the financials into the PPM? So I'll show you. Okay, that much I'll give you a promise from my side.
Hi Satya, this is Santosh here. Even I'm new to this Oracle platform. I never used any e-business tools or anything prior. So do we have any access to the tool?
Yes, we do
practice.
provide the access. We do provide the access for you. So based on day-to-day activities, like I'll tell you how to log in with the application, and how to create the users, assign the module specific roles, and how can I. So I'll explain all the basic stuff in order to access the instance.
Thanks, Satya.
Yes. Any questions? Any other questions? So, Satish, can you stop recording the session so that we'll wind up the session now?
Yeah, sure.